Hey, this is Rod with ET Motorgear, here with Byron Cooper. Want to let Byron tell you a little bit about the 39th annual Corvette Expo coming up at the Sevierville Convention Center. So Byron, if you will, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we have several events going on March the 18th and 19th in Sevierville. One of them, and one of our most popular events, is the new parking show. That's where Corvette owners just drive their Corvettes into the parking lot and park for the day or half a day or however long they want to stay, and just participate that way. It's a real low-key show and mostly more like a cruise in. We've also got a swap meet with vendors inside the building and outside the building. We also have a car corral with cars for sale, and we'll also have the NCRS Southeast chapter. Will be here on Friday and Saturday. They'll be judging cars in their flight judging. The highlight of the weekend, though, is going to be the auction, which comes on Saturday at 11 a.m. We will have about 100 Corvettes and classic cars and collector cars on the program for Saturday, starting at 11. And one of the highlight cars, one of the feature cars, is a 1954 Corvette, which was purchased new by a lady in Johnson City, Tennessee, back in 1954. She died about 25 years ago, and the car went to her husband. Her husband owns the car today. He's about 90 years old, and he is going to sell it. And also, we've got the 57 Chevy that is totally custom built. It's a fiberglass car. It's got a custom built frame. It has a 540 all aluminum Brodix engine and twin turbos.
That actually is a one-off 57 Chevrolet, and we'll have a special guest to explain a lot about it. So that's exciting for us to have at Corvette Expo. And Byron, also, we've had a little bit of talk. I know we're going to jump away from Corvette Expo Spring, but Corvette Expo Fall, Hot Rods and Horsepower. Tell us a little bit about this Dragon.
Well, Corvette Expo Fall is coming back to Loudon, and that's going to be October 14 and 15. And the highlight of the Corvette Expo Fall in Loudon is the Cruising the Dragon. The Dragon is a strip of highway on Highway 129, about 11 miles long, with 318 turns. It's known across the country for motorcycles and sports cars to cruise. And last year, we cruised the Dragon from Loudon. We had 423 Corvettes. This year, we intend to double that if possible. And like Rod has mentioned, we may have to go in 2 different waves. We may have to go 2 different times, but it'd be still a record for how many Corvettes we have on the Dragon in one day. Again, that's from the Loudon Municipal Park, and that's in Loudon, Tennessee. And Loudon is only about 25 miles south of Knoxville on I-75. And that's, again, is October 14 and 15 with the cruise on Friday.
Back to our Corvette Expo, March 18th and 19th. Get the cars shined up and get ready, because we're going to cruise. Hey, this is Rod with ET Motorgear, here with Jim Bryant. Jim is the original builder of this 57 Chevrolet that will be at the auction for Corvette Expo March 18th and 19th. And I would like to get Jim to tell you a little bit about it and a little bit about his automotive career.
Okay, Rod. Basically, I'm an old hot rodder. In high school days, I had street rods and hot rods and so forth. I started in the boat manufacturing business, Thundercraft boats in the early 60s, and later Bryant boats. So I have fiberglass experience. When they came up with the idea of building this 57 turbo car, Eric Brockmeyer is a designer down in Florida. It's a friend of mine. I told him I wanted a sleeker looking 57, a little wider, a little lower, and just all-out hot rod, sort of along the lines of an early type 57 hot rod. All right, I made the molds for that car in my boat shop, and then Art Morrison built the chassis for it on the West Coast, and we put the car together. It has a 540 cubic inch all aluminum Brodix engine, twin precision turbos, Lenco 1200 transmission in it. Paul Atkins did the interior in the car. It's an all-out street rod, very drivable car. It was the whole purpose of the car. We drove it for about a year or so, and then it's time to sell it.
Well, I'm sure some of the questions out there, a little bit about it with all of that engine and the Lenco and all that. So I'm sure everyone would like to know what kind of horsepower. Have you had it dynoed?
No, we've never dynoed the car. Eagle built the engine for it. It's designed to run up to 25 pounds of boost. All we've ever run is about 2 or 3 pounds of boost, and the car is very strong as a drivable car at that. If supposedly precision turbos can computerize and figure what it should do, should make 1,500 horsepower at 25 psi, but I've just never done that yet.
Well, you might have to reach out sometime and get one of your old drivers, Rob Vandergrift,
Yes.
the world's fastest 57 Chevrolet driver. I'm sure Robbie would love to get in it and drop the hammer sometime.
I've never given Robbie the opportunity to do
I
so
see.
because
I
he
see.
would love to do that. As you know, Robbie drove the 57 race cars that we had, and did a fantastic job. He was a very talented young man.
Unbelievable. I know Robbie wound up with the Super Chevy Series. Well, that's kind of hard to say. Winning 3 world champions with
Correct.
that, and
Correct.
that's a lot for you guys, because I do know that you're one of the major pioneers at starting the top sportsman series. I think
Right.
maybe with Charles Carpenter and yourself.
Well,
and-
Charles, go back a little bit before that, Rod. I was involved in NASCAR racing, and that's such an expensive hobby to me. It wasn't my profession. From 73 to 81, I owned and sponsored NASCAR Cup cars. Man, Joe Matthews over in Nashville built the cars, and we ran several of the races, not all of them by any means. And I realized then that that was not what I wanted to do permanently. So I wanted to run pro stock. I didn't really understand bracket racing, still don't. And I ran into Rob Vandergrift, as we mentioned, he's just an excellent young man and a very good, talented driver. So I decided to build a pro stock chassis, chrome moly chassis, pro stock virtually running gear and engine, but put a 57 body on it just so we'd have some fun and gain some experience. And that was really the first of the pro mod cars, really. We ran Top Sportsman for a while. You mentioned Charles Carpenter. Charles was from Charlotte. He had a 55 Chevrolet, and we used to match race from coast to coast.
I remember that.
And we had a lot of fun. And
I think E.T. actually, we started doing T-shirts that
Yeah.
I know your question was who would want a T-shirt,
Who would
but
want to buy one?
we started doing match race T-shirts with the
Yeah.
57 and the 55, and
Yeah.
me back in the mid-'80s on a little manual press. Then you guys were coming down there and ordering every time you go out maybe 1,000, 1,200 shirts. So,
That's right. Yeah.
So somebody wanted those shirts.
We made more money selling T-shirts than we did racing.
I
but
promise you
it
that.
got to be good.
But that was the good days.
Good
and,
days.
It certainly has changed now. But back to this 57 Chevrolet, I know your investment and man hours in this car, it's an absolutely fantastic piece. And I think we were talking earlier, and probably over $200,000 invested in this car.
Right.
And I do know it's going to go through the Corvette Expo auction on Saturday the 19th of March. And so if you're looking for a special one-off car like this, then I'm going to suggest you be at the auction and get your bid in, because Jim, I think you probably would attest that this car would be a trophy to have.
I always look at, Rod, if you go to a car show and you like for people to come look at your car, this is that type of car.
Good.
It's the only car that's going to be there like it. It's the only one in the world like it. And you know, it's fun. It makes it a lot of fun.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming, telling us a little bit about it, Jim, and you probably will come up and hang out with us
I'll be
at
there.
the Corvette show. So if you would, come and visit us March the 18th and 19th at Corvette Expo. Byron and Ronnie Cooper, their wives, it's all a fantastic event. This is the 39th annual, so the guys do have some experience at promoting a show. So be there and have a great time. Hey, this is Rod with ET Motorgear. See you down the road.